Have you ever stopped to think about what happens when one of the team's most important players is almost out of the game? Well, the Baltimore Ravens are going through a really tense moment. The front office is under pressure, and they know losing Mark Andrews could turn everything upside down. In this video, I'm going to explain exactly why the situation is so critical and what could happen if the team doesn't act fast. There's a lot that no one saw coming, and it could change the Ravens' future forever. Stick with me until the end. The story is just getting started. Go Ravens! Mark Andrews' absence during the crucial moments of last season left a big technical and emotional gap in the Ravens' offense. His injury, suffered just as the team was preparing for the final stretch, raised many concerns about the physical durability of one of the roster's most valuable players. Since then, the biggest question mark within the franchise has been about his full recovery. Will he be ready for the season start, or will his workload need to be limited? Andrews is not just a reliable receiver. He's the emotional anchor of Baltimore's offense. His chemistry with Lamar Jackson has been built over the years and serves as the foundation for the highest pressure moments on the field. When Andrews isn't available, the impact goes far beyond statistics. The team loses leadership, consistency on third downs, and the ability to control the game's pace. This forces the coaching staff to rethink routes, responsibilities, and even the timing of the quarterback's throws. Moreover, there's a real risk Andrews could return with physical limitations, requiring constant adjustments in the offensive rotation. Doubts about his explosiveness, agility in changing direction, and strength in heavy blocking could compromise the offensive plan right from training camp. If he's not in full shape, the Ravens will have to decide between protecting him and limiting his playtime or pushing for a quick return, risking a setback. Neither scenario is comfortable for a team aiming for the top of the conference. This concern about Andrews' physical condition highlights an even bigger problem: the offense's excessive dependence on him. And that leads us to the next point: just how much the Ravens still center their plays around Mark Andrews, even with other pieces on the roster. Even with new names added to the receiving core, the Ravens remain stuck in an old pattern. When the game gets tough, the ball goes to Mark Andrews. He's been Lamar Jackson's main safety valve since they entered the NFL together, and this connection has become almost a tactical addiction. The problem is, when Andrews is on the field or isn't at his best, the offense loses fluidity and creativity. Plays become predictable, and opposing defenses take full advantage. This dependence on Andrews also limits the growth of other offensive targets. When the whole system is built around one player, the others become complementary, not protagonists. This affects the team's tactical development and creates a false sense of security, as if having Andrews healthy was enough for the offense to work. But this logic has already shown its flaws, especially during decisive moments when he was absent. This kind of centralization also puts a heavy burden on Andrews. Beyond the natural pressure to perform, he carries the weight of being the only truly reliable piece in the passing attack in risky situations. This increases the number of targets he receives, his exposure to hits, and the risk of new injuries. Such an important player should be protected. But with the Ravens, he ends up being exposed precisely because he's too essential to the system. This scenario raises a delicate question: what if the Ravens need Andrews and he can't be on the field? The answer depends directly on who's behind him on the roster, and that leads us to the next topic: the lack of depth at the tight end position. When Andrews got injured, the Ravens immediately turned to Isaiah Likely, a young talent still developing. Although he showed some promising flashes, it became clear he's not yet ready to take the lead. The difference between Andrews' impact and his substitutes is striking, revealing a clear flaw in roster construction. The team didn't prepare for the worst-case scenario at tight end. The NFL is a collision sport, and injuries are part of every team's weekly reality. That's why depth at every position is one of the factors that separates Super Bowl contenders from average teams. And for the Ravens, it's not enough to have just any replacement. They need someone who can at least maintain part of the impact Andrews has on both the passing game and blocking. Today, that player doesn't exist on the roster. The scarcity of reliable options forces the team to improvise schemes and roles. In games without Andrews, the offense had to change entire formations, moving wide receivers to inside routes and asking running backs to do more pass protection. These adaptations sometimes work momentarily, but don't sustain a whole season. The lack of depth at this critical position compromises offensive balance and limits the playbook. Without a worthy backup, the franchise becomes hostage to the health of a single player. And what many forget is that Andrews isn't important just for catching passes, but also for his impact on the run game, which brings us directly to the next point: how his absence affects blocking and the Ravens' rushing efficiency.
All right, we're already past the halfway point of this video, but before we continue, I noticed you haven't left a like yet. It's really important because it helps YouTube keep showing you my content so I can keep bringing you the best news about the Baltimore Ravens. So go ahead and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps. Thanks. Now let's get back to it.
Many see Mark Andrews only as an excellent receiver, but his importance goes beyond receiving yards. He is one of the most complete tight ends in the league, especially when it comes to blocking. In heavy formations, his presence allows the Ravens to consistently run outside, protect Lamar Jackson more securely, and open crucial holes for the ground game. When Andrews is off the field, this balance disappears. His absence directly affects the running back performance. Without Andrews to seal the edge and make key blocks against linebackers or defensive ends, the running game loses efficiency and becomes predictable. This was clear in the final stretch of last season, when the ground production dropped significantly after his injury. The offense became one-dimensional, making it easier for opposing defenses and compromising the offensive system's flow. Moreover, Andrews' tactical role allows the team to use more versatile formations with motion, play action, and alignment variations that confuse defenses. Without him, the team has to resort to more conservative schemes, which reduces playbook creativity. This makes the team less dangerous and easier to contain, especially against top-level defenses in January. The truth is, Mark Andrews' versatility is a pillar of the Ravens' offensive identity. And when a player accumulates so many roles within a system, the franchise needs to think long-term. This brings us to the contract discussion and the risks of maintaining this dependency, the theme of our final topic. Mark Andrews is still under contract, but the situation demands a strategic perspective from the front office. His recent injury history, combined with the weight he carries within the offense, raises a central question. For how long will it be viable to maintain this dependency on a player who might not always be available? The Ravens need to decide whether to proactively renegotiate to maintain stability or quietly start planning for the future of the position. From a financial point of view, Andrews represents one of the franchise's most solid investments. He delivers production, leadership, and reliability when healthy, but the cost of keeping him performing at a high level, both in terms of contract and roster building, is starting to rise. If the team doesn't think proactively, it risks being stuck with a high-value asset that leaves little room for maneuver if another physical setback occurs. Additionally, risk management must consider the psychological impact of a possible transition. Andrews is a symbol of the Lamar Jackson era and one of the most recognizable faces for the fan base. Any decision involving reducing his role or considering a replacement will be unpopular. Still, the NFL demands tough choices, and staying hostage to a cycle of injuries can be costly at the most critical moment of a campaign. The big question now is, are the Ravens ready to share this offensive burden, or will they continue betting everything on Mark Andrews? The answer to this question will define the team's ceiling in the coming years, and show whether Baltimore is thinking like a contender or merely reacting season by season. The Ravens situation is more delicate than many expected, and the pressure on the front office is only increasing with the real possibility of losing Mark Andrews, a key piece of the team. Every decision from now on could define the team's future this season and in the years ahead. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you think the Ravens will be able to keep Andrews and overcome these challenges? Leave your comment and join this important discussion. Stay tuned here for more updates and full analyses about the Baltimore Ravens.
And if you, just like me, are passionate about the world of football and want to learn more about the Ravens' legacy, don't leave this video without sharing it with that friend who is also a Baltimore Ravens fan and will love this content. See those video suggestions on your screen? The first one was handpicked just for you, and the other is a recommendation from YouTube itself. See you there, and until the next video, go Flock.